In this video I want to talk about things that drive me crazy in luxury watches. When I started getting into watch collecting more than 20 years ago, I had a few misconceptions about luxury watches. For example, I thought that all Swiss-made watches have a great water resistance, and you can easily swim with any of them. Turned out it's not the case. Back then I learned mostly about Swiss-made watches, and brands like Grand Seiko or Glashütte Original were not that much in the picture. My name is Siri, and in this channel I mostly review watches and occasionally menswear items I like. Things like Japanese denim and wax jackets, for example. Another thing, I thought that each Swiss-made watch quality is exceptional and there is no issue possible. Because when you pay thousands of dollars for a watch, you kinda expect perfection. I quickly learned that it's not entirely true.
That's not entirely accurate.
What? Which part?
Despite the quality control, there are possible issues like misaligned bezels, misaligned hands, pieces of dust under crystals, and so on. And although those things are usually due to the quality control, there are some things that cannot be attributed to quality issues necessarily. I'm not a perfectionist, but here are things that are driving me crazy or can be annoying for me. The crown alignment. When I got my first expensive diver watch, it was a James Bond Omega Seamaster Professional 300. I was surprised to see that the logo on the screwed-on crown was not oriented correctly when the crown is screwed. It's silly, but for some reason I expected it not to be tilted. Later I learned that it's not something watch brands are paying attention to. So you can have a logo not even tilted but upside down, for example. I don't expect it to be perfect anymore, but I still sad to see logos not in the right position. When it is tilted a bit, it's fine, but when the logo is upside down, that's where it drives me crazy. Is that something that can be done? Or it's like Hublot and Cartier Santos screws, for example, not possible to fix? Am I the only one who annoyed by the logos on the crown? Let me know in the comments down below if that's bother you also. The date is not centered. Another annoying issue is when the date is not quite centered inside the date window. And this is probably the issue that drives me crazy the most, because it's on the front of the watch. Interestingly, that some less expensive watches sometimes get it right, and more expensive watches are not. Let's take a look at my AWC Mark 18, for example. A great watch, but the date is a bit misaligned against the date window. That's something that can be seen in other expensive brands also. Funny enough, my less expensive Hamilton doesn't have this problem. You can see in my AWC that the date is located a bit to the left and not quite centered in the date window. Anyway, I've seen such examples in different watches in different price ranges. Another thing that bothers me is when the movement is smaller than the case. It's not particularly a quality issue, but a sign that brand is being lazy and cutting costs. Even some very high-end brands are guilty of doing it. Let's say this Vacheron Constantin 56 or my Omega Seamaster Railmaster. You don't see the movement in Omega, so it wouldn't bother most people, but when you know that the movement is much smaller than the case, it's just annoying. There was a time when large watches were trendy, so brands were going with trends and making large watches with the same smaller movements. Sometimes it's also dictated by the overall watch design in the dial with complications, for example, but sometimes the watch case just can be smaller and it even might be a better watch. Do you know examples of small movements in large cases? Poor quality straps. This really bothers me when expensive watches have a poor quality straps. Let's take a look at this strap from Cartier, for example. It's like, come on, you charge $1,000 for your product and you cannot offer a decent strap. This is a strap from my Cartier Tank Large, and this is a very bad quality strap. The strap is absolutely horrible and it's not holding well. It's a shame that strap makers like Deluxe makes a better quality straps than Cartier. That's a luxury product and the accessories have to be luxury also. Not tapered bracelets. I really like tapered bracelets. I think it adds to the look and wearability. There are some great watches on the market that can benefit from tapered bracelets. Watches like Omega Seamaster 300 or Chopard Alpine Eagle, for example. If watch is sold on a bracelet, it should be a good one. And in some cases, bracelets are the watch extension, and especially with integrated bracelet models. Models like already mentioned Chopard Alpine Eagle or Cartier Tank Française, for example, they would benefit from tapered bracelets in my opinion. Since the models are meant to be worn on bracelet, make them as best as possible. And the last but not least issue is when Quartz seconds hands missing markers. I remember when I had my first expensive Quartz watch, it was Omega, and I was a bit disappointed that the seconds hand wasn't hitting markers perfectly. Unfortunately, it's the case sometimes with expensive Quartz watches. Heck, even less expensive watches like Tissot PRX, for example, shouldn't have this issue in my opinion. But unfortunately it is. Not always though. My Tag Heuer Aquaracer Quartz for example, is doing okay. And another example is the Quartz Grand Seiko that I had for review is also doing very good job. So it's not all bad. So here are the things that drive me crazy in watches. If I really like the watch and it has one of these issues, I probably will tolerate it. And as I mentioned, I actually have some watches with said issues and I'm still enjoying them despite those imperfections. What things in luxury watches drive you crazy? Anything you cannot tolerate? Would these issues be a deal breaker for you? Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye now and take care.